here with a man who has changed the way the India used to eat and drink food. He introduced the concept of fine dining in India and he has been running the show from past 25 years. We have with us AD Singh, who is the founder and MD of Olive Group. AD, welcome to this show. And tell me how your journey in food service industry started.
Thank you, Charu, firstly, for those kind words. And welcome to all the watchers of the show. I'm an old timer. I've been in this business I started in 1990. So it's been 33 and a half years since I've been doing F&B. And I think what's been interesting for your viewers is when I started off, I just stumbled into it. But we didn't really have cool places. There were lovely restaurants, which long predate, but cool spots for people like us, hardly anything. Because I'm talking about 1990. Around that time, not just me, there were a few others. Ritu Dalmia, Delhi, Sunny in Bangalore, a couple more who was starting to do cool things which our generation could resonate with, So it was challenging. The restaurant sector was nothing at that time. Landlords were scared to give properties to restaurants. And youngsters were being pushed into five-star hotels. Nobody joined these strange small places. So there were a lot of challenges. But at the same time, my generation was starved. Where to go, where to meet friends, where to hang out, where to check out the chicks, the whole thing, We used to meet every Friday, Saturday at a five-star hotel coffee shop. It's great fun, but that's all we had. Looking back today, it seems we were deprived. And that's the background against which I stumbled into F&B. I have no background in it. Even today, I can't really cook. And it's not that I have a great palate. But I had a lot of ideas, trends. I worked hard. I adapted things I'd seen into concepts, which fortunately largely worked. I've also had my fair share of failures. And I would say to the viewers here who are entrepreneurs, going to be entrepreneurs, don't get put up for life from failures. We still have failures. There's no guarantees in this sector. It's fun, it's glamorous, but it's tough.
So when you say failures, what were the challenges that you faced initially when you were starting, and how do you overcome those challenges?
It's a great question, Charu, and I often speak on panels to coming up entrepreneurs, coming up restaurateurs, and I know they're very keen to get going. Probably won't listen to a word I say, but my strong advice is for your first restaurant, don't rush in with your own money and your own concept and by yourself. That's critical. Take a franchise of a good brand, Indian or international. So somebody else has done the hard work. There you learn systems, processes. You'll understand the business, being guided and led by them. Then after a couple of years, you can follow your own way. Or take a partnership with established restaurateurs who have credibility, who are trustworthy, and ease into the sector that way. Our business is the number one industry in the world where you can lose money for a first timer. So be careful when you start. I don't want to put anybody off. I love what I do. I've been doing it a long time. But be a little careful when you start one. And secondly, very important, it looks very glamorous, but it's very hard work. There are a lot of challenges, of course. They are in everything. We feel they're more than in anything else. But the reason that I've been going for 33 plus years and still love it is because I love it. If you don't love it and you're looking on it as a business, I would suggest there are many businesses to explore, which for the same work and effort may be able to give you easier, better returns. But if you love this business like so many of us do, welcome to the industry. Yeah.
So can you please elaborate on the challenges that you feel that you faced initially, and what were those, and how did you overcome those challenges? What were their roadblocks that were actually stopped you, and then you thought about reframe the things again, and then took it to the table, and then actually reached the success?
My journey actually in India has been really a coming of age of the standalone restaurants. So there have been many, many challenges along the way. I'll run through them a bit quickly. One is, of course, in our country, the sector used to be very disorganized, very mom and pop, very cash. People were buying alcohol from the grey market, not showing sales, not paying taxes, breaking the rules in so many ways. As a result, the government has a deep mistrust of our sector, and we don't even have industry status, though we give huge employment in India, one. And secondly, the government should realize that we make Indians happy to deal with the stresses of their work life or the hardships of life. And that is something every government should be really encouraging, because you want happy, contented citizens at the end of the day. So I would really like to see us become a recognized industry, be supported, and work hand in hand closely with the government. With their support and their alignment about our value, I think we could go really far. It would help the government earn great revenues and also make for a very satisfied citizenship. So that's my number one. And from that, of course, many small challenges come. But it's the root of, that misalignment with the government. I really like to see that be much better in the future for all of us. And then, of course, the things me and the people with me have gone through in these years, it's a joke. Because we were path breakers, So we've had to face, for example, I had the bowling company in Phoenix Mills. It was mill workers' land forever. And there was deep resentment between them, developers, partly the government, but how that was slowly going out of their hands. And people who just came in as innocent tenants became the focus. So I've actually faced a stampede. And apart from me and my team, but the kids got scared, ran, some fell down, hurt their knees. So that was not something I ever expected. And I was sorry for the families that were in my places at that moment. But it was, I guess, all part of the processes of gentrification that we've played a part of over time. We are very committed to never doing anything unfair to the people around us, to our teams, to our customers. This, I think, we were part of something larger, and we were unfortunately victimized as a result of that. We've been sealed. The Olive Delhi, when we opened, we owned Delhi. We had all the best people on every table. And along the way, for no fault of ours, despite all the proper paperwork, we were sealed overnight. And then reopened 3 years later without any explanation, apology, restitution. We had to rebuild. You know how hard that is. I could go on like this. I don't want to be
it was a roller coaster ride in
roller
short.
coaster.
So, anyway, when you entered the restaurant industry, food service industry, you build the teams from scratch because you were not also from the same background. So, what qualities did you see in the person that you're planning to employ, what qualities do you foresee in them, and then say, yes, this is the right match, and my ideology is matched with him, we can go ahead with this person?
So while answering that, I'd like to start off by sharing what my ideology is. It's in the roots of our company. And what I would encourage your viewers, especially themselves entrepreneurs, to think about, which is that for me, now of course our company is a flag bearer, very well regarded, helping lead the F&B industry, standalone especially in India. But it's not about me. There's no way I could have got there or sustained it on my own at all. I was lucky that I started off without any real genius in F&B, but with an approach to my people, which was to support them, encourage them, help them grow. And that's really what helped us reach where we are. We've had fabulous people from the beginning. So many of them have stayed with us, and that's led us to where we are today. For example, people come into Olive Delhi, the girls at the door have been there for 20 years. So they recognize, appreciate it. They've seen their kids grow up, you know? So that's really what hospitality is at core. Many of my top management have been with me for 15 plus years. It's quite remarkable in an industry where turnover is high. And also with the brand name my teams have, people are always trying to get them. But I think we've managed to look after them well, care about them, and so been able to keep them for a long time. And that's something that I would urge all would-be or even already entrepreneurs. Do look after your people. They really are our biggest asset. They can change your fortunes forever.
So 3 qualities that you look into them before hiring them.
So when I'm hiring, I'm actually looking for people who could, it's a bit of a cliche, but retire from us. And for that, it's not first their current skill set or their education, but those are all important. But it's more what the kind of person is. Can this person be loyal, have integrity, give us his best? So long as he can do that, we feel we can groom him and build together with him for a long time.
So when we talk about the consumers or the customers who come to the various restaurants, you must have seen over the almost 30 years how their behavior has changed. So what are those behavior changes, if you can highlight those changes, and what steps have you taken to match the changing consumer behavior?
Firstly, the market in India, from the time I started, which is just 33 and a half years ago, has changed unimaginably. I think for people growing up here, it's fantastic that probably downstairs in your building, wherever you live, there'd be a nice place to go to. Within walking distance, there'd be a few good options. That was unimaginable in our time. I used to do a food column, a weekly food column, for some years for a paper that's now closed. I used to struggle to find places to review because there was nothing new. So I used to go back, revisit people that stood out for whatever reason, and then, write about them. Now there is, I would say, more than a new opening a day on the average in any of our big cities. It's quite fantastic. What's also happened now is that a lot of youngsters have come back. They want to live in India, and they're bringing their own ideas, exposure, much as I did. So there are really very nice new places springing up all the time across the cities of India. So for the consumers, it's, I'd say, quite fantastic. Now, what I try and do to stay up with the times and the changes is I try to marry my teams, who've been with me a long time, with young people that we bring in regularly. Because, I've been in the business 34 years. People have changed, attitudes have changed, tastes have changed, opportunities have changed. And for that, a good marriage of youngsters, along with the experience the old timers have, is the way that we meet and go into the future.
Wonderful. And one major disruption which we have been seeing from our past few years is technology. So, how are you weaving technology into your brands and how are you taking it to new heights then?
So, the restaurant business is about creating a great experience for customers. So, one, my focus is that food's got to be great, try and improve your service. Last 2.5 years, we've really been focusing on the beverage side as well. So, our cocktails are getting better and better. So, that's the core of the experience. And that's where my team's main focus is. Definitely for marketing, digital media is playing a huge part in people's lives, and we need to use it as best as we can. And better technology over time provides great opportunities to give better experiences. So that's what we're really working on. For example, if somebody's working on and through facial recognition, it's Charu, she comes here every month. She only sits, has coffee, reads a book, and you know that by the time she reaches your table, the way you handle her is so much more personal, you know? And that's important for any customer. We all want to feel valued wherever we go. We want to be cared about because we have many choices. We're giving our money, our time. So we do want to be valued. And I feel technology, where it can help us deliver that better, is where I'm continuously trying to incorporate that.
So, AD, we have also seen that AI intervention in lots of spaces in retail. What if AI takes your job someday? What will you do?
So increasingly, we are seeing the use of data. Because I'm an old timer, I'm fairly intuitive. Very often, there isn't much data around for me to be able to use. But even analytics of people's patterns can improve the performance of the various places in the planning. So increasingly, we are trying to work with that. I'm sure AI can increasingly guide us better on how to meet our customers' needs and wants and desires. Can AI take my job? I don't think so. I think it can be a great tool to help me and my team do better and better.
Okay. So, how do you foresee the food service industry evolving from here, say, to 5 to 10 years from now?
So, the industry has been evolving in India a lot. If you want to sort of have a rough estimate, look at Southeast Asia itself. Our habits and patterns are going that way. Just for example, let's say in any Southeast Asian country, people might eat 6 meals out a week. In India, it might be 1 or 2. So that's growing. So you can plan for that. Because of COVID, what happened, even we Indians changed our saving habits. It's always been one of our strengths. Now we've loosened those purse strings a bit. We spend a little higher proportion of what we bring in. Also, we realized with COVID, we can't be sure of this 20 years to go, 30 years to go, 40 years to go. So we are spending a bit more on ourselves, our children, our homes, on today's enjoyment, which is going to lead to a bigger boom across the numbers that we have across India. In my planning, in the growth of my company and my journey, our markets for the cool spaces were largely limited to the main metros. Now it's spreading increasingly across India, which is fantastic for us. It's fantastic for people living there. It also helps people stay there and help those cities come up and grow. So I think it's very important for India and our economy as a whole.
So, when we talk about Olive Group, where do you see the Olive Group 5 years from now? What are the big plans for the group for you?
Because we're market leaders, because of my own experience and my top team's experience, we have good investors from around the world. The opportunities are huge. So I think what I'm already in the process of doing is building teams for the future. We have been a fairly conservative company, grow slow and steady. I'm now just seeing the opportunities that there are, both here and overseas. We could grow at a much, much faster pace. And that's what I'm putting the steps in to be able to do. So the Olive Group in 5-10 years should be a much larger, almost unrecognizably sized company without losing our roots, our culture, our humanity. Those are key for me.
Wonderful, AD, and I wish you all the best for the journey ahead. But before we wrap it up, I want to have a rapid fire with you where I'll not give you a chance to think about your answers.
I hate
You have to
this.
quickly answer
You're
them.
putting me on the spot. All right, we'll do my best.
So my first question is, one business book that you have read and what have you learned from that?
I actually don't read any business books, mainly because today's best book, tomorrow the next bestseller says the opposite thing. So I know that I could and I should take guidance and advice, but I don't read business books.
Any book that you have read and you liked it? Why?
I read a lot. It has balanced my life, especially when I'm traveling away from the kids. Currently, I'm reading, I'm also trying to read different cultures, so it gives me a little understanding. So right now I'm trying to read a lot of like Japanese, Korean authors, novels set over there. I'm reading those bestsellers right now, which are set in a cafe in which you can travel back in time. So it deals with universal themes of love and loss and regret. And there are 4 books, and I'm almost through with all 4. Very enjoyable, a different take on giving back, on planning. So I'm enjoying those a lot.
So 81 restaurateur, not yourself, of course, that you admire a lot and why?
From the longest time, I've really admired a man called Rohit Khattar. Firstly, at a personal level, we're friends. I look up to him. He's, I'd say, very much like me and who I want to be. Straightforward, great integrity, giving back a lot to everybody around him, and creating beautiful things. I think he's better than me at it. He, of course, is the man behind Indian Accent. I also love what they created some years back, Cormoran, which his son created actually, Indian Accent Worldwide. I just had a fabulous meal at Hosa, their place in Goa. And I'm looking forward to seeing what more they come up with.
Wonderful. So we have seen people are ordering online at their homes. People are going out. What do you prefer, ordering online or going out and have an experience?
To me, I'm all about creating great experiences. So what I've been about, my company is about, even for our lowest end, like soda bottle opener wala, we try to make sure the experience the customer gets across the different parameters is as good as it can be. So I'm all about lovely experiences when you dine out.
Wonderful. So, Eddie, everybody knows that you're running the show at Olive Group. You're the MD, you're the founder. But what do you do in your free time?
So I, long time back, thankfully, don't want to be one of those people with regrets. I'm going to do this when I retire. I'm not that. Firstly, very importantly, the people I love, wife, children, brother, sister, their families, and my closest friends, I want to give them today. So I've woven that into my life and I balance my life that way today. And that, I think, helps me a lot with the stresses, obviously, that work always has. I try and make sure that I'm there for the ones who are close to me, for the important moments. Luckily, because I work all over India, if somebody has something requiring me in another city, I can plan work around and be there. Anniversaries, birthdays, deaths, illnesses. I've tried to be there for all of them for a long time. My kids are young, 6 and 12, and I'm a very hands-on dad. I waited a long time to have them, and I want to give them as much time as I can while they're still happy to hang out with their parents. Yeah.
So, Eddie, my last question to you is 3 things that you want budding entrepreneurs or foodpreneurs to keep in mind while starting the business.
Number 1, as I said before, be careful. Don't risk yours and your family's life savings Start slow and easy. Learn what you're doing before you risk everything. That would be my single biggest advice. Secondly would be, and it wasn't what I did, but start your business off a P&L. That defines your whole business. So whatever lovely ideas you have, however great a chef you are, whatever else there is, put your P&L together first and grow your business from there outwards. I didn't do that, but I've learned that that's the right way to do it. And thirdly, I'd say that, as I mentioned, build great teams around you. But even when I say great teams, both in the company and those you use professionally for tax, legal, your CAs, these parts, even in the food business, will really save you a lot of pain and grief as you grow, especially in the beginning.
I hope it was a great learning for the entrepreneurs who are watching this show. And I hope you really enjoyed it the way I enjoyed it. I can smell good food, so I'll take a leave from here and we'll see you again next week. Till then, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Cheers.